You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
A lot of viewers in our area, near the Springfield area, are watching closely as a corporate dispute between one of the area's largest independent medical clinics and Blue Cross Blue Shield, the biggest insurer in the state, drags on past 100 days now. Many of those side effects affecting patients who have urgent needs. Joining us now is State Senator Sally Turner, who represents many people in this area, in the Springfield area. I wonder, first of all, did you ever think that this dispute, this insurance dispute that kicked all these doctors out of network and introduced a lot higher medical bills for people, would ever go this long?
No. First of all, thanks for having me. No, and we're finding it very interesting that the other insurance carriers that are a part of, that they can go to Springfield Clinic with, they haven't had any problems with those carriers. So that makes me question, why just Blue Cross?
Well, Blue Cross, there's some history there. Blue Cross has basically said we don't want to arbitrarily pay higher rates. They're trying to settle a deal that would bring down how much they pay to Springfield Clinic. At the same time, they're sort of boasting that through this hardball negotiation, 60% or so of Springfield Clinic's patients have arrived at their competitors' waiting rooms in other hospital groups around the area. Is that all this is just business?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. Is that all it is? I don't know exactly what it is, but it makes people look at like Big Brother's in control, and you know that's just not right. There
are several promises enshrined in state and federal law that get right at the heart of access to affordable health care.
Right.
And that path is right now full of a lot of roadblocks for pregnant mothers, for cancer patients, for people who desperately need that continuity of care. And their bills are growing larger. So what can the state do to alleviate this sudden...
Sure, I've seen that in our own family as well, the continuity of care with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Over this incident?
Yeah, not me personally, but part of my family.
You're the second Senator Turner to tell me that.
Oh, interesting, yeah. So what can we do about it? Department of Insurance needs to know about it, and I understand that people have reported that to Department of Insurance, and I would hope that the governor, the Department of Insurance being under him, would see that this is a problem and investigate it.
The Department of Insurance, unlike a lot of state agencies, has incredible power when it comes to regulatory agents. The law gives them a really vast array of tools. But right now they've only inched towards saying, why don't you, Blue Cross, give us your new list? You were supposed to give it to us, according to the law, 15 days after the material change occurred. That would have been back in November, early December. Here we are now in March, and they're just now handing it over. What does that tell you about the intensity of this investigation?
It tells me that it needs to be more in depth. It needs to be brought to the forefront. And you doing what you did, I really appreciate that. You bringing this to the forefront.
Can you do anything from your perch as a senator to tighten the screws here, to get answers?
Well, I understand Representative Harris, is that who it was, had brought this in 2017. It was before my time, of course.
You're talking about the network adequacy and transparency law, yeah.
And it's not very transparent, is it?
Well, the Pritzker administration, the law's there. But it's collecting dust on the shelf.
And
the Department of Insurance hasn't even written rules to enact many of these things in the law.
I'm saying what he did was a great thing. That was a good idea, but that needs to be implemented. And Department of Insurance needs to take a better look at it. And
do you want to see them write the rules to enact this law?
Sure, and I guess I would think that the governor, he is the governor and he is over that entity. And if he would suggest, hey, we need to get to business. What is going on here? What's the problem? Let's get down to business and get this figured out. There's 110,000 people that have been displaced because of that. 650 doctors that, I don't know, if that were my mom and dad, they wouldn't have a way to go to a specialist in Chicago or St. Louis. I don't know, they wouldn't be able to get there unless I personally could take them there. And they're very fortunate for something like that. They have a daughter close by. Look how many people in rural America, rural central Illinois, that don't have that accessibility. Springfield Clinic goes all the way from Effingham to Carthage to Jacksonville, Lincoln. That's a huge area of rural people that need that care.
And even today, they send doctors out to people in those areas.
Absolutely.
And in those areas, people know very well that doctors have closed up shop and moved to Springfield just to stay in business because insurance companies have squeezed them to the margins and they've sort of flocked here to survive and keep their business open. I want to ask you another question because right now the Senate is the place where a lot of discussion is coming up around crime and the law. We saw some police widows arrive in this building this week, and they called on Senate President Harman to take up these package of bills that Republicans have proposed, but there are Democrats listening to these issues as well. You proposed an interesting idea that might be related. You've asked for courts and judges to clear the courtroom of anybody if there are teenagers or minors who are there to testify. What is your hope there? What outcome would change if?
Well, I'll tell you, the instance where that came from was from this McLean County State's Attorney Don Knapp, and he had a situation in that a minor was testifying in the courtroom, and it was a video. It was a video of the act, if you will. In the courtroom sat two individuals that were the cellmates of the individual that was the defendant. So they were able to sit through and watch that video.
It's a chilling effect.
Yes. And that greatly deters someone to be able to testify, let alone relive that all over again.
But there are constitutional protections for the accused
absolutely.
to face their accuser in court.
Absolutely. That's up to the judge. And I understand right now that the judge does have that ability right now to have someone step out of the courtroom. This is giving them, the only little change is that the person can be over a minor age, can be over 18 now and ask for that to happen. Before it was just you had to be a minor. So if this occurred to you when you were 15, and now you turned 18, you wouldn't have that availability.
You'd have to testify in front of everyone.
So this just, if it occurred when you're a minor, even though you're over age now, that's what that gives that availability to. And it's still up to the judge to make that decision.
Very interesting. Also left up to the judge to make decisions is whether or not the judges get a lot more discretion starting in 2023 to keep suspects behind bars pre-trial. They've been accused. This is the ending of cash bail, right? This is something that's taking place in 2023. There's been a lot of rhetoric around this, that it would make ending cash bail might make Illinois less safe, but we had Senator Robert Peters on just a few weeks ago who actually said, look, there are cases right now where victims of domestic assault, domestic violence, are let out immediately. They're accused, they get to go back immediately. They're not, but under this new ending of cash bail, they would actually be swept up and kept behind bars for these more violent crimes, the forcible felonies that are on that list. How do you see the changes in the law there in that pre-trial phase?
Well, I'm not really quite sure what you were getting at with the way you spelled out that question.
Sure.
But I guess I'll just say this, that if I were a person that was the victim of a domestic battery, I would hope to God that they're still in jail so they won't come out and kill me or my family.
Right now, under the cash bail law, they would be let out quickly.
Yeah.
And if there was a cash bail, they could go ahead and pay it. If they had enough money, they can get out anyways.
Yeah.
So there's sort of a loophole there, isn't there?
Yeah, that sounds terrible, doesn't it?
And then the new law that's coming in, that Democrats passed, would keep that person behind bars.
Yeah.
At the judge's discretion.
Okay.
So I suppose I didn't spell that out well in the question.
Okay, I was going to say, I couldn't quite figure out where you were going with
I think
that.
the law is moving in a place where it circles violent acts, and it says if you do these forcible felonies, these violent things, we don't want to let you out even if you can pay your way out.
Right.
They're removing that option to pay your way out. Doesn't that make people safer?
If you pay your way out?
If they remove the option for a violent person to pay their way out in cash bail, doesn't that make people safer?
It would make people safer.
Okay. That's an interesting, a lot of your Republican colleagues are saying that this new change is going to make Illinois less safe.
Okay, you're circling around and honing in on something. I'm saying that people are safer when they keep individuals in jail that commit a crime. They need to stay in jail. That would make them safer. That's what I'm saying.
I hear you.
So I don't think that we were kind of hitting on the same.
So I think what the law is trying to do in this new phase, and there's some debate around where to draw the line between hard crimes, violent crimes that would put people in danger, and the lower level crimes that for many years
I see what you're saying.
Have people would maybe be innocent, or maybe they're guilty of committing some lower level crime, but because they couldn't pay their way out, they were stuck in jail for a long time. The law that's changing is saying we're going to let those people that have committed the nonviolent crimes or been accused of the nonviolent crimes, we're going to let them go about their life until their day in court, their trial. The people who have been accused of more violent crimes, we're going to keep them behind bars, and we're not going to let them pay their way out. That's the change that's coming.
There's a lot more behind that, though. I mean, if you think about it, if you commit a non-violent crime but prior to that, you have committed a violent crime. How does that work together? I mean, are you out on something minor, but yet?
You're getting at the repeat offenders.
Yes. So, I mean, there's more to it than just. And I don't know what the law is that you're referring to, because I haven't.
The Safety Act.
Yeah. Oh, the previous one.
Well, the Safety Act is the new one.
In July.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
In January, I think. But
okay.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Those debates will continue in this building, I think, this year. We've seen some top Democrats say they want to make the state safer, and we'll see how those debates play out. But
yeah, we look forward to that, absolutely. And you got to remember that I wasn't here when the Safety Act passed, so I'm still wrapping my head around that, 800-page document.
It's a lot of changes.
Yeah, not only me, but every law enforcement officer that there is in Illinois.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, Senator
Sure.
Sally Turner.
Yeah.
When we come back, one of the 19 House Democrats who defied former Speaker Madigan and denied him the gavel back in 2021. Madigan arraigned in court. He entered a plea of not guilty. House Democrat Maurice West joins us with reaction next.